Now, how should a director break down a screenplay? I think that's something that is really not taught. And it's something that directors really don't even think about. Like when you read a screenplay for the first time, what a director should be doing in actually breaking it down. Because I've spoken to a lot of craftsmen, directors who are just craftsmen. They just understand the process.
Yeah.
And they have specific, like, okay, boom, 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 boom. It's almost creative. It seems almost non-creative, but it is creative because it's almost like a blueprint. But how would you suggest that?
Well, first of all, I think that very important to do a table read and to get your actors, if you have that possible, if that's in the budget, whether they're available or not. Sometimes those things aren't the case. But before you're shooting, because when you hear your dialogue the first time, it's a very different thing from your actors. It's always a surprise, and you have to adjust. So I think that that's usually the first step, even if it's just a couple of table reads, maybe only partial cast. But once you have that down, then you start with your script. And now this is Judith Weston has written a terrific book about preparing, probably by far the best one, in fact, on the subject. But it's very actor driven. It's not really visually driven. So since I mostly write about the visual side, even though I have gone to acting classes and gone through and done a fair amount of those kind of workshops, visually when you break it down. You are drawing little boxes in the margins of your script, and you're closing your eyes and you're going through it line by line. And is this a close up? I mean, you usually know kind of, okay, we're at a dinner scene, and let's say that's a simple one because people are seated, and so you're looking at that and you're going to break that down. So that probably means you're going to do over the shoulder shots and reverse shot, reverse pattern. So that's kind of set for you, but at the same time. You may want to move the camera at some point. You want to know, do you want to do a two-shot? And what a lot of directors do, and even Spielberg and others, and many of they'll screen other films. And at this point in their career, once they've been doing it for a while, this is less of an issue. But I know Spielberg was talking about looking at films at night when he was doing Close Encounters. So you'll get a sense of how a basic style for the film. So Gordon Willis, the DP for, let's say, Godfather, did things differently and with different lenses than, say, a Steve Martin comedy, in which they're using much wider lenses. So you listen to the actors. You get a new sense of what your dialogue sounds like and how people play together. Then you have sort of a sense of the style. It's going to likely longer lenses. Is it a comedy? You're going to go wide. You're going to exaggerate, and then you're going to sit down, and then it's the line by line. And because you let an actor speak through the whole scene, indicating cuts is not really all that critical. Because I've set up an idea or of a scene that's primarily locked into over the shoulders and such because you're not moving. But then you go line by line, and on an emotional basis, you have to say what line has to be emphasized, what doesn't. So I go for the emphasis in the line. I go for turning points in the drama. And I really sort of do what would be a description of the flow of the scene, because a scene has a beginning, middle, and end. And you have to identify when the most important. A lot of this is for the actors. It's not really just in other words, it's what I need to be able to say to the actors. And breaking it down, I'd also have notes for the actors. What intention can I give them? Because you don't want to say, move to the left and do this. And sometimes you do that for an action, but you don't do it for a performance. Mm-hmm. So in terms of breaking the script down, that I usually go through, and it's just a lot of notes in the scripts, and then I retype it separately outside the script and give myself a little bit more room for doing storyboard panels.